there, I'm Vickie Howell, a professional knitter, crocheter, designer, and author, and I am here to give you the scoop on how to read a yarn label. Why would you need to know that, you ask? Well, it's pretty key for stitchers to know a few basic things before they get started on a project. And thankfully, you're not flying blind when you go into that yarn store because the labels are fairly standard. Now, they might look a little bit different and not all of them will have everything, but you can usually get the gist as long as you know these basic things. So on a ball, there will be often symbols. The first thing is there's a weight system. There's something called yarn standards. For each weight, there's a number from 1 to 7. 7 is mega, mega bulky. 1 would be really fine, thin lace. And so regardless of what language the actual label is in, you'll know that if a project calls for number 7 yarn, even if it's a different brand, you can probably use that same yarn. Now on some balls, they may not have the actual system, so you'll want to see where it says sport weight, lace weight, worsted weight. But don't worry, I'll explain that more in my classes. All right, next, and this is probably the most important thing, this is the little gauge grid. So they're going to give you a grid. Sometimes they'll do it for knit and crochet, sometimes just knit, it just depends. But it tells you how many stitches and how many rows that you're going to get per inch. They'll have it laid out in a standard 4-inch, 10-centimeter square, so you might have to do a little division there. But really, it's crucial if you're making something where you needed to know exactly how many stitches you're going to get to create the shape and the size that you need to fit your body. So this will help you there. It also will tell you what size needle or hook they use to get that actual gauge. So under that are all the care for symbols. So that's whether or not you need to hand wash it or if you can machine wash it, whether you can iron it, and then it usually will tell you whether you're supposed to lay it flat or whatever, just all the care for stuff. The last thing, and this is really important too, is the yardage. So how much yarn is physically in the hank or skein or ball. And it'll usually give you several different measurements for that. It might have it in weight if you wanted to weigh it. It'll tell you how many yards, meters, you get the idea. It's because in a pattern, it will tell you how much yarn you need for your particular project. So that's an important one. And then lastly, it will tell you what fiber that yarn is made from, whether it's 100% of something or it's 20%, 80%, or you get the idea. So that not only will you know if it's going to drape the same way as what the pattern requires, but if you have any forms of allergies or anything, you'll know right there whether or not you can use that yarn. So it sounds like a bunch of info, but really it's great because you don't have to know a ton. You just have to know how to read the label. Super simple, and to learn more, you can go to my knitting and crochet classes and hopefully sit and take them all with me. And you can find out more info on that at creativelive.com/Vickie Howell.